Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I am Jam. That there be Kenny, and we are coming back at you with another end of month video, reviewing anything from film as well as streaming. And this is, of course, for April. So we'll just start off with the April movies that we're going to be highlighting. I'll be highlighting some highlights and also highlighting some lowlights. Some of the films that maybe I thought would be a little bit better or just didn't like at all, and of course bringing at you highlighting some of those other ones that just exceeded my expectations or met them. Kenny, how you be?
Hello. Good man, good. I'm still kind of hyped on earlier in April the release of the Knuckles show. Then we got Fallout, and so I just been thinking about those. I actually went back to play Fallout for a little bit, 76, and they're actually giving it away on Twitch if you have Twitch Prime.
Mm,
So you
there you go.
can grab it, play some.
Jump on that. Although that's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, yeah. We
That
got on to
is,
play the other day. We ended up playing
yeah. Next thing
like
you know,
6 hours
you're
before we
yeah,
realized it was
you're
time to
like
go to
two
bed.
weeks into that, and you haven't even stepped out in the sunlight.
Yeah,
It's
it
one of
got
those
it,
kind
it
of
got
games.
me good for a little bit, but
I
it's
mean, it
dope.
happens. Yeah, I mean, it tells you how good the game is. Uh, so we're gonna start off here. First of all, so for you, I'm actually glad you brought up Knuckles. I will bring up Knuckles later on as well. Um, but we'll start off here. I kind of just go down the through the timeline. I'm looking here at the movies, and I was just going through a lot. I've seen pretty much most of these. There's a couple of them that I just haven't seen, but I heard nothing but good things, and I'm actually still needing to go see, obviously. But all you hear is that the films are great, and those are some that I can't wait to see. But just haven't been able to get my ass out there. April, you know what? If I had to grade it, I mean, I'll grade it at the end, I guess. But I would say it was slightly better performing than March. But we're gonna get into the summertime, in which cases, things are gonna heat up real quick. We got Planet of the Apes and
Oh yeah,
Furiosa coming out this month. I mean, I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that May, just because of those two movies alone, is probably going to be that much better than April. But April did solid. These months are usually kind of like the low months of the year. They don't really, it's kind of like that time before summertime is usually difficult, unless you have some sort of Marvel movie coming out. You're usually not going to get much, nothing too crazy coming out.
yeah.
And so, as far as that goes, most of these movies are not necessarily like big blockbuster type films, but great films nonetheless. So, kind of going through the list here, we're going to start off with The First Omen. And I got to tell you, man, honestly, the horror genre has been holding it down for 2024.
Yeah.
You got nothing but like, I think that those are some of my favorite movies that have been coming out. And it could, could be like, I love horror films too. So it could be slight, I'm wondering if it could be a little slight bias, but I don't know. I break it down. I look at them and I look at all these movies. Honestly, they're just the best ones coming out. And they have some of them that aren't as big in terms of like a blockbuster, budget wise and all that. And then you have some of these smaller films that you might see on streaming platforms like Shutter. But First Omen, that came out first week of April. You got No Tiger Free, and this girl, she keeps. I mean, she just has that look. If you ever look her up, she has that look of like the innocent type of girl that there's something wrong with. You know what I mean? Like this, she has that
Yeah.
underlying thing. There's a certain
It's
innocence there, but it's also like
the
she's dangerous.
the unsuspecting of it. That
Yeah,
appearance
yeah.
of just somebody who looks normal. Like this
She
person wouldn't want to
there's a
murder
certain
me in my sleep.
relatable. Yeah, there's definitely a certain relatable uh aspect to her acting. I don't know what it is, but she has something about her that she kind of suits these certain types of roles. And I'm excited to see where she goes from here. But she kills it in this one. I mean, she has to go through all kinds of range of emotions just coming in, and it's a classic. It kind of similar, a little bit similar plot point wise to Immaculate, but slightly different at the same time. And of course, it's the first Omen, so that's setting up. The Omen that the classic, The Omen, and of course
Damien.
you can only assume how it would end, right? And where we kind of end up towards the end at in the final climax of that film, but that one was really well done. And then moving on to the next week, you have Civil War. And
Yeah.
Civil War is one of those, and that's one of the ones that I talked about where I just have not gotten my ass out to go see this movie. And every week that goes by, I'm just like, what? I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I have to get out there though. But Civil War, that's Alex Garland, and if you don't know who Alex Garland is, I mean, you can just see all his films, and they're all great. And I imagine Civil War is no less. But I've heard nothing but great things about Civil War,
Yeah.
and I have to bring it up.
And this is an A24 flick. I remember watching the trailer, but I didn't remember it was A24, so I was like, okay. So
Oh yeah, Alex Garland and A24 go together. They just that their style, his style of making films, and their style of releasing films. I couldn't see him releasing with any other publisher, but I mean, I'm assuming Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons. Plemons is one of my favorite actors working today. So I mean, I'm gonna go check this one out at some point. But from everyone that I've talked to, and just even critics, fans seem to think it's really great. He just makes these thought-provoking films, and executes them well. So that's one of those I have to bring it up, even though I haven't been out there to see it. I'm moving on from that. Also, same. I mentioned horror, kind of holding it down. I mean, I love me a good creature feature, and you had Sting come out the same week, and that was kind of like Civil War. Kind of was a little bit under the radar, I think, in terms of a release. Not too many people went to go out to see that one. At least that I had a few friends, but like the casual moviegoers, I think weren't going out to see necessarily Civil War. But so Sting was even less than that. But you're talking about a spider movie, giant spider movie,
dude,
basically. I mean, you have
those were
that's all you need to tell me.
yeah. What was it like like there was Arachnophobia, and then Eight-Legged Freaks.
Everybody remembers Eight-Legged Freaks.
So yeah, so spiders have been big in the media. So it's dope to see them back, especially because I really liked those movies when they first came
They're
out.
making a comeback. They're making a comeback, man. I'm not really that scared of spiders in that way, but I mean, everybody knows somebody that's just terrified of them.
Yeah.
And so, you to have these guys. I mean, a creature feature with giant spiders or flesh-eating spiders, or I'm in either way. So that one was pretty great. And then probably I might be my favorite, at least of the movies that I've seen released, which came out April 19th, would be Abigail. You know Abigail, right? It's basically it's done from the same directors that did Scream and Ready or Not.
Yeah.
And then it with this one it stars Melissa Barrera. This is basically post getting kicked off of Scream.
Yeah.
And that whole controversy.
The little ballet girl.
Yeah, the little ballet girl. That's right.
That terrifying
the basic premise of it is, and they've showed in the trailer. I mean, she's a vampire.
Yeah.
So you have essentially a group of
child abductors.
I guess I'll call them. Yeah, child. I guess they're basically a team put together in order to kidnap this high ransom type of a girl who's the daughter of somebody important. Right? I'm not going to necessarily kill the story, but high value target, and of course that's the twist is that she turns out to be a vampire, and so it becomes a bit like it's almost like a mix of Ready or Not and Dracula. Like it's got definitely more Ready or Not in it than it does Scream, but you got Angus Cloud's last movie that he ever did before he passed. So there's a little bit of bittersweet. When you're watching his scenes. You got Kevin Durant, who's he's famous character actor. You see him. I mean, if you've seen a picture of him, you'd be like, I've seen that guy. He comes out and everything. He's great in this one too. He plays if I for some reason just know him as the Blob in Wolverine, the Wolverine Origins. But
that was a sad one.
Yeah. But I thought it was pretty great. Again, horror just killing it this year. And we're are we halfway yet? We might be halfway all the way to Halloween, but I can't wait. And then just kind of wrapping up some of my more favorite movies that came out last week would have been the last week of April, Boy Kills World. It's kind of
Yeah.
like a fun action movie. Uh, there's a certain sense of comedy that's it. Did you know that? So he basically plays a death uh or a mute. Is it mute or death? I don't
He's
know,
mute.
man. I was confused too. He's mute, right?
Yeah.
And you know who plays his inner monologue?
Yeah, it's fucking H. John Benjamin.
It's Archer. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, H. John Benjamin, dude. Oh my
Which is
god.
hilarious.
When
But the action's pretty great.
yeah.
And what
Well,
were
he's
you gonna
also
say?
Bob from Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, H. John Benjamin is one of those people who's like he would look like anybody in the supermarket, and then
Oh
but you hear
yeah.
him talk, and he's got such a classic, such a classic voice. I guess that's the definition of a voice actor. But I that to me that was all I needed to hear to in order to go, get enticed to go see this movie. And I mean, it was it was a great time in the theater. I mean, that's all you can really ask for, especially action flicks. I tend to be a little bit more critical about them. I would say is because we've seen such great ones, especially last year with John Wick. That you got, it's almost like I watch anything else and I can't. I'm like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do to even impress me, even close
Yeah.
to what this movie did? You know what I mean? So I'm a bit spoiled in that regard, but this one was pretty fun. This one was pretty fun, and it's got just the right amount of blood for me, and the comedy aspect mixed in. I sometimes wonder about that. I'm not sure how it's going to execute that, and sometimes I feel like you have these comedy style, like I think of like Bullet Train had a lot of comedy in it, and for me, honestly, Bullet Train. A lot of people like Bullet Train. I didn't really care for it too much, and so I was worried this would fall kind of more in line with that. But I thought they did a great job. It was entertaining.
Like what was the other one? Hardcore Henry, where they put you. It's like first person view of the movie,
It's
and it's
actually a
like
good comparison.
it really gives you that emotion of oh shit, you know. I I
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons I kind of liked it, but
Kenny coming out with a good hardcore Henry, man. That one was. I honestly, that's actually a great comparison because it's like I don't want to. I'm not going to come out and say like this is an all time great for me, but I mean for what you go to the movies for, I mean to me it executed. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
that's all I can ask for is to be entertained.
yeah,
It definitely did that.
and it's
Uh,
rewatchable.
oh yeah, I mean that's why we love action films. That's why we
Uh,
love comedies. Rewatch. I just want to be able to rewatch them. Uh, kind of going into the low lights, just a couple of them, but just films that I honestly thought that were going to be better. And maybe a lot of times I think these films are often like victims of the the preview being just a lot more better than what the film actually is. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that to me, I think a couple. So one of them, and this is the only one that I think is just a victim of that, which would be Monkey Man. And this was Dev Patel. And looking back, it's like, okay, what can I expect from? Even though it's Dev Patel, he's a great actor. It's his first time directing. Anyone will tell you. Anyone who's ever done anything, any of these pros, they come out and they'll tell you like the first time I did something was I can't even watch that. You know what I mean? In comparison to what I'm doing now. I'm
yeah,
sure, unless your name is Jordan Peele, you come out with some classic film like Get Out first. But we can't all be Jordan Peele, and which is funny enough, he like endorsed this film, and so watching this film, I thought it was the previews made it seem like it was basically John Wick, right?
yeah.
Like it just felt like
Or
the action was going to be gritty in that way.
when I saw it, I thought of like Ong Bak.
Ong Bak or The Raid or
Yeah,
something
the
like
raid,
that.
something like that is what I
Yeah,
honestly felt. And it just
it
it felt
wasn't
like it
that.
didn't. Yeah,
It just wasn't that. Like it
yeah,
just it, and watching it, I felt bad because I just really wanted to love the film, and it had its highlights. It had some great moments, but ultimately, it just to me, it just kind of the pacing was a little bit weird. It came to a screeching halt in the middle of it, and you're kind of trying to. I don't want to, I was fighting my tiredness, put it to you like that at a certain point. and it finally picks up at the end, and you're like, oh, okay, I can see. And even the end, the climax wasn't to me. It's like they didn't quite go full bloody. They didn't also quite go full like stylized action either. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They could have been. It could have either it could have been just executed better in both those. And the story was, to me, probably the story might have been the best part about it. But you're talking about a film that was kind of made out to be like a great action movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call it a great action movie, even though it has a lot of good. I'll say good action sequences in it. It has it's a good movie. I just expected it to be a lot better than that, I think. And so it kind of was a bit of a letdown, to be
It
honest. Still solid. I'll say solid movie. I thought it was going to be great. For, again, solid. But also highlighting challengers. So, or I say low lighting challengers, should I say? Challengers, you had Zendaya, Luca Guadagnino is Suspiria is probably one of my favorite movies in recent memory, and he's got some other films that tend to be a bit racy and it's certain subject matter, and this is kind of no different than that. But then I don't know, I watched it, and at the same time I just kind of left it, and I was like, well, that was okay. You know what I mean? Luke is one of those directors where I kind of go into that and expecting to kind of just be thrown for a loop, and it didn't quite hit that for me. I'm a big Zendaya fan. Uh, Although she was good in this movie and everything, but it just there's something about it and the way that it was put together that didn't quite hit the way that I would have hoped. Uh, and again, these films, it's not that they're necessarily bad. It's just that I think I had higher hopes for them, and they didn't quite fit. They didn't quite hit that mark. But that one, just ultimately that movie in general, I was like, well, yeah, you can wait. You can wait for streaming on this one. And to just kind of continue on from there, I definitely wanted to highlight some of the streaming ones coming out. That was it for as far as like movies out in the theater. But there was a couple movies that came out, a couple movies and TV shows that came out on streaming. Some of which that I didn't expect anything from. It just kind of came out of nowhere for me, and some of them that I was excited for, and movies that we've seen before. And just to bring up the first one would be Late Night with the Devil, coming out on Shudder. That came out on Shudder mid April. I mean, if there was ever a reason to try Shudder out, Late Night with the Devil is that reason. You know what I'm saying? Like we highlighted that one when we came out and we saw it in theater, and it's awesome. What's weird is we talked about how it's cool to see it in theater because you feel like you're a part of the audience watching the madness, right?
Yeah.
That watching it at home. Watching it at home, it's like you're
the audience,
part of the people at home
from
watching
the movie.
it.
Yeah,
watching it at home.
Yeah,
I don't know if they meant to do that or if it just kind of worked out that way with the way that they did the film. And like I was saying, horror killing it this year. Late Night with the Devil's classic. And another reason why you should get Shudder is Infested, and this is a movie from France. Again, another spider creature. And both I actually kind of like this one a little bit better than Sting. And this is not like I mean I don't want to give it up for people, but long story short, I would say it's a mix of like Arachnophobia and eight-legged freaks. Those spiders aren't quite that big. A little bit more realism to it, but it's kind of somewhere in the middle of that. Sometimes you can watch these movies and they can be very, very B movie-ish, and this wasn't that. I thought it executed perfectly. If you don't like spiders, it's probably even better. I don't, if you're trying to get scared, I mean, come on now. I know a lot of people who don't like spiders and just will not touch these kinds of movies. And it's like, I mean, what's the point of a horror film? Is it not to scare you?
To scare a little bit.
Yeah, unsettle you. I mean, that's why these movies. You should go watch these movies, unless you're just not a horror fan, which I understand. But this one killed it. But moving on from that, going into some of the shows that, and I'll highlight some of them that I just didn't even know about, and I just decided to start watching, and ended up being pretty great. Under the Bridge. This is Lily Gladstone, Riley Keough. It's a based off of real life type of crime, real life crime type of a show.
Okay.
and this is set in the 90s. You know, you got a lot of 90s hip hop happening. uh you know, in the 90s where you had like a lot of those parents, you know, on the news talking about that gangster rap is like ruining their children.
Yeah.
This is their I told you so type of a show. But basically it's based off of these girls, and apparently gangster rap is just it's just ruined their their senses of what normalcy is. And either way, like it's just it to me, I love those types of shows where they're getting into like the true crime type of stuff,
Mm.
and you just see kind of how they unfold, how much of it is true to the way it happened, how much of it isn't. You know, it's not so much that, it's just you know, that stuff's interesting, people love that stuff, man. But that one's a great one. One that I have not seen, but I need to watch because I can't stop hearing about this show. It's called Baby Reindeer. Have you heard about this one?
Oh yeah. It was
Baby Reindeer, dude. It's basically,
the
I didn't even
fans,
know what it
man,
was.
ruined the show.
Dude, it's basically it's about this guy who's I guess he works in, he's a writer, and he's
What's based on his
it's
life.
based off of his life. Yeah, he actually, when in his early 20s, got stalked and sexually assaulted. I don't know. I'm watching it, and it seems kind of like a horror type of show. And then I looked into it a little bit, and I'm like, oh, this is his real life.
Yeah.
And you know, just to me, the whole concept of it. And then I just, again, these are some of these shows that I haven't quite watched, but you know, critics seem to like it, fans seem to like it.
Yeah. It
I
was good.
mean, that's the only endorsement I need. Did you see it?
Halfway through it.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it feels like it's like a one of those shows where just people write about their life to get it out there, and it's good. I would recommend. I just been doing so much stuff recently. I haven't been able to finish this one. I haven't been able to finish Knuckles either.
Yeah, I'll get into Knuckles in a sec. Uh, uh, okay. So also bringing up another, I guess it's not necessarily a movie, but it's just something that you should watch, especially if you're a fan of music like myself. Stop Making Sense is now streaming. This is the Talking Heads. It's basically this is considered like the best live performance video apparently of all time. You watch it, it is pretty good. You know, I've seen some other ones like that. You know, and you think of like a Hard Day's Night and some of these other types of. This is just a straight concert. I love this stuff when you have any kind of like live performance video, and there's a bit of a, you know, David Byrne he's got a bit of a like a mad scientist uh become rock star. Like it's just kind of, he's got one of those kind of vibes about him where you could tell he's obviously a pretty smart guy. And he also has another he did a Broadway recently that features a lot of Talking Heads music, and they recorded that as well, and that's also streaming on Max. But this one just came out. I think A24 got a hold of it finally, and then they remastered it 4K, released it so people can buy it now too.
Okay.
But it's also streaming on Max now, so you know, definitely check that one out, especially if you're a music fan. And then finally highlighting Fallout. Fallout. I mean, we talked about this. We made a little video on Fallout. You check that out if you haven't seen that. But
Link
Fallout's probably
somewhere.
somewhere. You know, find it. But Fallout, you know, that one I thought was awesome in terms of like it. It nailed it, man. Like, and we made one of the things that I wanted to bring up that we talked about before is just how these video games seem to be more ideal as TV shows than they do as movies. And I don't know. To me, this is just, I've always kind of had that thought, anyways, and this is just kind of further proof of that. You know, I don't know how it would have worked as a movie if they made a Fallout movie, and how that might have impacted it. I just feel like video games kind of lend themselves to a TV show, and this one kind of
Agreed.
nailed it in terms of the action. As someone who's played Fallout, you know, a couple of Fallout games before, uh, you know, you get a lot of those callbacks and the nostalgia, and I just feel like they nailed it with the tone, the action, just enough
The
comedy in there.
casting was
The
great.
casting was great. Yeah, they killed it. What you think?
100% agree. It is, depending what comes out later. It might be my show of the year for 2024.
I mean, that's actually a good question. I you know, Show of the year. I mean, I might be inclined to agree with that. I love Invincible though. Invincible's always been. I mean, but I don't know if I don't even know if I want to compare them though. Invincible kind of has like its own thing going on. But you know, we got The Boys coming out. Boys season 4. We'll see how that goes. You know, there's going to be some competition there, man. But you know, this one was honestly pretty great.
It's a contender. It's a contender.
I mean, a contender. It's a contender. And you bring up Knuckles as a highlight. I'm going to tell you, Kenny. I bring up Knuckles as a low light. I was not a fan, my friend. I just did not enjoy it, man. I don't know what I couldn't. First of all, it's not enough. The little action sequences just scattered throughout were kind of keeping me there, and it wasn't that long, and it wasn't that, you know, so I that's the only reason why I finished it, to be honest with you, is that the episodes aren't they only like 30 minutes or so?
Yeah, that's why I kept bringing it up. I was like, this man tells me it sucks, I'm gonna be upset because I haven't finished it.
It sucks, Kenny.
Go. I'm still gonna finish it. For my boy Knuckles.
Yeah, you got to finish it. I mean, they're 30-minute episodes now, but you formulate your own opinion, man. Maybe you love it. I don't know, but you know, for me, I don't know. I was let down, as well as, like, even if I wasn't a Knuckles fan with high hopes, even if I didn't have high hopes, I still would have watched this and been like, this is terrible. This is just not. It's just not good. And so, you know, it was a letdown all around for me, and that was probably the biggest letdown of the month, to be honest. You know, even more so than a lot of the other lowlights that I lowlighted. For me, it was just, you know, they were kind of like, I thought it would be greater, and this one just kind of let me down in all kinds of ways. And so, I don't know. You know, they got Sonic 3 coming out. Hopefully that picks it up. Redeem Knuckles, man. Redeem my boy Knuckles, man. Give him proper scenes. Give him proper backstory. But yeah, that was my April. You know what I mean? So again, some highlights, some lowlights. Again, if I had to put it, just generally speaking, watch anything that came out in April horror related. If you're a fan of true crime, you know, Under the Bridge is great. Late Night with the Devil, you know, those are some of the highlights streaming wise for me. Anything for you as far as anything I've talked about, anything else that I missed, Kenny, or just even commentating on some of the things I did discuss?
Mean, basically, Sonic Knuckles was a letdown, but we had Fallout 76, so to me it was you know,
it balanced out.
Yeah, the ups and the downs. Late night with the Devil really killed it for me. The First Omen. I'm gonna have to check out the other one you said, Infested.
Oh yeah, that's on Shudder. Yeah, definitely watch that.
Yeah, I gotta get it. I gotta get Shudder. It's like the one I don't. It's like the one of the only services I don't have.
How many times are you gonna recommend people get AMC Plus and Shudder? I mean, if you haven't seen The Ones Who Lived, The Walking Dead, that's your opportunity. You can watch all that. Watch The Walking Dead. Watch
the VHS series alone, I would say, is worth it, even if you only get it for like a month or two.
There's some classics on there. They got a few hidden gems. I would just look into some of the better films that Shudder has. Check those out, man. If you're a horror fan, you got to.
This video. I
don't know how many months until October?
Oh, dude, October. Oh,
good way to pass the time.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good in October.
I can't wait for October. Yeah. I mean, we got a Terrifier coming out this year. Come on, Kenny.
Yup.
Hi, Kenny. That's all for me, man. You got anything?
No, I'm good. Keep watching movies. This video could have been brought to you by AMC Plus or Shudder, if they want to. If they want to, this video could be brought to you by them.
If they want to.
That's just
we're a few years. We're getting ahead of ourselves here, but you know, man can dream. Man can dream. All right. I've been Jam. That's been Kenny. Until next time. Peace.